I'm gonna feel like a pianist. Of course, I'm not a pianist. I'm a true engineer, and I have my friends here. And today is a very special day for me because these are my last days in Tokyo Tech. I'm very much privileged to be here, and I don't know how I started this Tokyo Tech. End up with playing music or piano. Professor Akinori Nishihara is a very good friend of mine. He said, why don't you just go through the hearing? And Professor Idone is just one of the member of the committee. He was the only member of the committee. He said, okay, Professor Yarman, why don't you perform? So I was performed last time and I'm gonna be performing today. I hope I'm not gonna bore you. You should realize that I'm just even not an amateur pianist. I'm just doing music for myself, for my friends, just to enjoy ourselves. So I just play my feelings. I don't even care about the score books and the other things. What am I going to be doing today? It's going to be something special. If it's going to be special, just my music, but it's going to reflect my history, my background coming from Istanbul. I just want to give you a little idea. I was born in a big city, in a very historical city, Istanbul. And I was raised in a very particular part of Istanbul, which is the most historical part of Istanbul. That is to say, it is the mixture of Ottoman culture, Byzantium culture, Jewish culture, Armenian culture, as well as Muslim culture, Islamic culture. So I grew up in an environment where I was able to expose myself to all these cultures. I used to go to mosques, churches, synagogues, Armenian church as well, Orthodox church. As a matter of fact, in the place that I was raised, the biggest Orthodox church of the Greeks of the world was in that area. It's called the Golden Horn. It's just by the seaside. So I was very much influenced with all these cultures and the music. It was beautiful. That's where I learned democracy, because you have to respect with the others. And you have to respect the other opinions, other ideas, other religions. So this is how we grown up. Unfortunately, in these days, I don't see this composition in the world. The respect, somewhat, somehow, I'm just excluding Japan here. I'm in love with Japan, with the way they really act, the way they treat people, and they enjoy every beautiful things that I can feel. So, as far as the music is concerned that I'm going to be doing today, I'm going to start with the classical Turkish music, which goes back to the Ottoman history. It has some influence, I believe, the Greek church on it, but it is truly Ottoman Istanbul classical music. Then I'm going to be continuing with the classical Turkish music. Then I'm going to make you a Greek song. Greek song which comes from my area. I used to have a lot of Greek friends. And I'm going to make a Jewish song, which is very well known. Again, I used to play this with my Jewish friends as well as with my Turkish friends. And I'm going to make you an Albanian music. Just to give you a little bit further background about myself, part of my family came from Macedonia. My grandmother's town was Albanian. And in our house, we had people speaking Turkish. We had people speaking, my relatives speaking Albanian as well as Greek. And sometimes my mother used to talk to me in French, and to all our brothers and sisters. It was a big family. It was an old Turkish Ottoman family. So that's why I'm going to be also making an Albanian, a very small and very sensitive song. I hope I can do it. So by the time I proceed with my program, it looks like 10 pieces, but it can be very quick. Eventually, I'm going to play a composition that I did for children. I'll give you a little bit more background when I come to that part. But at the beginning of my play, what we call is taksim in Turkish. That means the performer really reflects his feeling about the music. Then I'm going to start with that classical Turkish song. So it's like a jazz jam session. I'm going to start with the Turkish jam session. I don't know what am I going to be performing now. I hope you're going to like it. So I thank you so much for coming. I'd like to express my gratitude to Professor Noburi Hidone. He's the one who made me this second performance before I leave. So I think it is my privilege to be with you all, and I was not really expecting to have such a crowd here. So I hope I'm not gonna embarrass you. I'm not gonna embarrass Professor Yudari. Thank you so much. Now I'm gonna sound like a real pianist. is also very well known in Turkey. It is called Şehnaz Longa. I'm just going to introduce you very old Turkish tangos, two pieces. I'm going to play it continuously. They go back to 1940s. At that time, Istanbul was pretty much under the influence of European culture, French culture. May remind you some chansons. So this is a typical Turkish tango piece. From Zeki Müren. Zeki Müren is a very famous composer in Turkey. He passed away some time ago, approximately 10 years ago. He was really one of the best. He was an outstanding singer. Originally, he was an architecture. But he turned out to be a very good musician. Actually, he made a lot of nice compositions, film musics, and now his compositions are very classical. And this composition is called One Piece of Jasmine. It's a flower. And a couple used to be together, but they, for business, for some other reasons, they separate a lot, like me from my wife. We travel a lot, and she loves this song because we spend a lot of years as a separate couple just because of my duties, sometimes her duties. So this is the song for the separated peoples for a short period of time, or sometimes long period of time, but they love each other. So I'm just going to make this sentimental piece for you. Is Greek, but Istanbul Greek. Again, comes from my area, my suburb, and we had a very close relatives. He used to live with the Greek people, and by the great Orthodox Church. This song is called Isuna Dodekapranos in Greek. Actually, there's a young guy in Istanbul, in love with a nice Greek lady. Her name is Maria. So he made this song for Maria. So this is a very simple song. It's very sentimental. It just shows the sentimental feelings of a Greek in love, a young man to Maria. is Havana Gila. It's a very famous and cheerful song. It is Jewish. In Istanbul, we used to have a lot of Jewish people. After 1945, establishment of the Israeli state, some of them moved to Israel. In 1960s, again, there was another movement to Israel from Istanbul. But at that time, during my childhood in Istanbul, we used to go to school with Jewish people, with Armenian and Greek and Orthodox Muslims. So it was a mixture. We used to enjoy this song altogether very well. And I do play these songs whenever I go to conferences and gather my Jewish friends. So I'm going to make the Istanbul version of Havana Gila. One is from Albania. This is my grandmother's song. This is also very sentimental. It's easy to play. It's a very simple tune. And I'm not excellent in playing this, but I'm going to try to make this, see how much I can do this. This is typical Macedonian music. Now, the next one is the famous Istanbul song, and most of my Japanese friends know this. This is Skitari. This is another, actually, I made a lot of friends from Macedonia, from Balkans, from Bulgaria, Hungary, Yugoslavia, Serbia, and they also claim that this is our song. Whoever sang it is a nice song. So I will say that I'm going to play the Turkish version, the Istanbul version of it. The way we sing this song in Turkey, in Istanbul, Skitari is one of the oldest places, very historical town on the Asian side. Istanbul, as you know, it is the only unique city in the world which has parts both on the European side and the Asian side. And these sides are connected with two bridges. Now Japanese are building a tunnel under the Bosphorus, under the strait. So Üsküdar is the oldest part of Istanbul. It's an old Greek town and then Ottoman town. It reflects most of the Ottoman Turkish historical culture. Again, this is the between two lovers. The man is a Ottoman officer, and he works for the government or for the palace, Topkapı Palace perhaps. And the lady, of course, they are shy like Japanese people, and they are polite, and they hide from the mothers, from the parents, and the lady secretly follows the guy, and the guy secretly follows the lady. So they meet each other, once in a while. So this is the song about it, and you can join me, you can claim and whatever. Well, I'm going very fast, so this is the last piece. This was years back. I had my son, he was very young, he's in the States. And the other children, my nephews, they all practice piano. This is the custom of the family. Actually, they're much better musician than me. As a matter of fact, my eldest brother's son, he's a musician. He's a very good composer. He's great. If you were here, he wouldn't like the way I played. But sometimes we do play together. He enjoys my piano too. They said, Uncle and Dad, why don't you make a music for us? I said, okay, I'm gonna try to make a music just to cheer you guys. So I tried to make this one. I believe it has some also US influence on the music, because I spent years in US and sometimes played jazz with my friends in New York City, in the jazz bars. So you can really feel the mixture of Turkish music and some maybe American jazz on that piece. So I'll try to do my best, see how it goes.